better get back, because it'll be dark soon, and they mostly come at night. Mostly.
What are you wearing now? What do you got on now?
I mean, I have been wearing jeans, but been wearing chinos. They're
What the fuck are chinos?
They're real. I don't know.
This is the beginning of the podcast.
Mostly horror movie night.
You keep it in. No, but tell us all. What the fuck are chinos?
Chinos are pants that are I don't know, dude. Yeah. No, chinos they're just nice pants. Dude, they're comfy. I don't know.
Anyways, can I see them?
Dude, they're just
pull a leg up for me, dude. I want to see. Oh, okay.
They're not like
Jake from State Farm.
They're green. They're not khaki. Yeah. All right, I'll cut away from that and then cut back in.
What do you mean? No, that's all perfect. Leave it. Right. Just leave it. Let the people hear.
Perfect. All right. So welcome to Mostly Horror Movie Night. I'm Steve.
And I'm Sean.
And this is episode number 8 for us, which is crazy.
Yeah, wow.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. We're recording this on March 17th.
Yep, I just started my Guinness.
There you go.
I'm gonna let you know this episode is gonna be interesting because I'm drinking now at the intro, but I wasn't drinking during the interview. But by the time we're in our game, I'm gonna be fucking lit up because I have no food in my stomach and I drink my Guinnesses fast.
That's fine. That's fine.
It's fun.
Yeah, so thank you guys for listening. If you listened to the other 7 episodes so far, we appreciate you guys listening.
I love you so much.
Love you guys. I can't even explain how much.
I'll kiss you right on the face as long as you say that's okay. Only if you say it's okay.
If you're listening to this and you haven't yet followed us on Twitter at Mostly Horror or on Instagram at Mostly Horror Movie Night, please fix that issue that you have in your life. If you don't know already, we want people to submit your horror origin story or
send them in
or a story of the first time that you watched a horror movie or a fun time, or just tell us a freaking story.
I was about to say, listen, right now we're asking if in a couple episodes I'm going to start screaming at the beginning of every episode. Yeah. Just do it.
So email those to mostlyhorrormovienight@gmail.com and we'll read them at the top of the episodes. Sean, a fun fact that I learned the other day is that scientists don't know how eels reproduce.
Yeah, dude, that is so funny because I just learned that recently and I don't remember where. Tell me more.
I don't have anything to tell you really. I just wanted to talk about how insane that is.
Was it Tickum Talks?
It was Tick. Oh yeah, I definitely saw Tickum Talk. It is the year of our Lord 2021. And we don't know how eels reproduce. And I feel like that's messed up.
Right, dude. Yeah, because I think I saw the same video and the guy was just like, we just know that they show up. We just know that they happen to be about, but apparently we don't know like exactly when they do it or like what their process is. I don't understand that at all.
2 eels go into a room, the door closes, and they come out with baby eels. No one knows.
I was going to say it's spin the bottle season in eel world and shit gets weird, man. Dad's not home.
Dad's not home.
That is so fun. Honestly, I'm surprised that I didn't like jump into learning about that. And it is that's crazy.
I think it's insane. I had to bring it up on the podcast because I had to talk about it and get that devil off my
I call bullshit, dude. This is Eelgate. Listen, there's like secrets about it's just like the fucking oceans, dude. I don't buy it.
Birds. No, dude, it's the bird. You know how the birds, like the government killed like 200 million birds and replaced them with
dude
recording equipment.
All right. So we're gonna small story that you were there for.
Okay.
Remember when me, you, and your wonderful girlfriend Sydney went to Bates, which is a burger place in around where I live, where you used to live, and it was like the last time you were here. We went to Bates, and you guys were in the front seat, and I'm smashing a burger in the back. I swear to Christ, I saw a bird flap its wings. It was like flying, and then it just stopped. it wasn't like it was hovering and like caught wind, dude. I swear to God, and I'm not one of those bird people, but dude, this bird, like it stopped midair and like a tree passed it, and I think I might have mentioned it to you guys, but I know that I just went, we're gonna leave that alone. We're not gonna explore that a lot.
About it clicked that memory back into.
Do you remember?
I remember
dude,
you talking about it.
It freaked me out. But I was just like, if something happened, glitch in the Matrix. I was just saying that's more where I lean is glitch in the Matrix. But yeah, aliens are in our oceans. They're fucking the eels are they're spawning somewhere. I'm pissed.
But we don't know. Another totally not related thing that's more horror. The eels were the mostly. This is the horror. A couple days ago, I think like 1 or 2 days ago, because we're recording this on the 17th, Ronald DeFeo, the man who inspired the Amityville horror, the guy that committed the murders, died in custody like a day or 2 ago. Yeah, did you see that? You didn't see that?
No, I didn't. That's crazy.
Yeah, the dude died. It's so I don't know how much you know of the actual story, but I know
a last podcast on the left's 3-hour episodes.
Okay, so you know a lot. The dude, I remember listening to, I think it was just My Favorite Murder one about it, but the guy came up with just the goofiest like reasons for like what happened. He's like, they got shot and then they flipped upside down in their beds. And it's like, no, dude, you shot them when they were face down in their bed. Like the guy that committed the murder just like came up with the dumbest like, reasons.
Right. And he just, dude, because he like, I don't remember everything. It's been a while since I listened to their breakdown, but I just think it's the weirdest thing that he just like hated his family, killed his family, and then immediately like went to work at the car dealership owned by his family. Just slung cars all day while his family was rotting in a bed. And then they just made up a story. I mean, I understand that the Amityville thing is a super romanticized haunting,
right?
But like, it's a confirmed, made up thing, I still would like if you were like, let's go ghost hunting in that house. Goddamn right, I'll grab the Guinness. Gotta do it. But but no, I didn't know that. Do we know how he died? How did he die?
I don't know. You know what I can do is I can just talk for like 3 seconds while I look it up.
Hello, my baby. I'll keep him distracted. Hello, my honey.
I know that he was in. It says the cause of his death wasn't immediately known, but I know he was in custody. He was 69 years old. Nice. And nice. Yeah, he just, I don't know. May he just die, dude. May he rot forever in hell.
Yeah, people do be just dying sometimes. People so I get it. Just
dying.
Yeah,
it's a tough thing in life.
Yeah.
The other thing that we got to talk about is you finally saw Saint Maud.
I did.
Which, look at how cool that poster is. If you're watching,
oh my, yeah, that's beautiful.
I love that poster. So mild spoiler alert, I guess.
Yeah. Listen, and don't let your if you haven't seen it.
If you haven't
go
seen
la,
it,
la, 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 for the next minute.
I'm gonna insert what time to cut to. So if you have not seen Saint Maud, please jump to
13 minutes and 58 seconds.
Wonderful. So jump to that time in the show. How'd you feel about Saint Maud, Sean?
Okay, so, and this is real quick, I want to touch on this. It's so frustrating because me and you are movie buds. Like that's a big part of our friendship, and we have to suppress. Like we would just have a fucking conversation about this, but we had to wait. Yeah, we have to wait until the episode so that we get some like legitimate reactions. I loved it. Yes. I really did. I loved it. I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. What a ride. I won't if I'm really gonna nitpick, there is like 1 or 2 visual things near the end without whatevering that
you can spoil it because people are gonna jump to
all right. Well, they fucking better. All right, so here I'll say this because I don't even then I don't want to direct spoil. What I'll say is fire at the end, not the last bit of fire but the little bit of angelic fire, the romantic. I get like that wasn't supposed to be real necessarily, but I do think that they could have like I just didn't love that look, but I'm nitpicking because story-wise, her delusion, everything,
dude,
beautiful.
So
what
good.
a ride.
So
what
good.
did you think? Yeah, give me some.
I love religious horror films. It is no secret that I'm a huge skeptic and don't believe in God, and I think that lends itself to me loving religious horror a shit ton. I thought it was great. I loved how it portrayed the disillusionment and her, her love of God to a crazy point. One thing that I enjoyed a lot is that the trailer for it, I don't know if you saw the trailer.
To watch them. I did.
Okay, right. So it gave away, it showed a good amount, and I was like, man, I really hope that this movie has more meat to it, because I don't want those to be the biggest things. Obviously there's the shot of her like floating, which is, it's gorgeous, but I think that shot in the movie is even a little bit different than the shot in the in the trailer. It has a little bit added to it. But yeah, I loved it. I thought the ending, I agree with what you said with that little effect. I think that little effect was just jarring because we didn't see anything in the movie, like even with her like kind of seeing things.
Yeah, the only thing close to it was the wings.
Was the earlier wings.
Yeah, but even then I liked the wings.
I agree.
So,
it's just a little different. But no, dude, it's up there with probably my favorite horror movies now. It's definitely in my like range of the types of horror films I like.
I knew you loved it. While I was watching, I was like, Steve loved this.
It was just like it was a slow burn. It was well acted, beautifully colored.
Honestly, so this goes more into spoilery. So I remember, I think we watched the trailer together, and I remember us both being like, well, just show us the whole fucking movie. But it doesn't, it does a good job at setting tone. I do think that they could cut things out, as I feel most trailers should, but in the trailer, I was under the assumption that the sick woman was much more villainous, where she wasn't at all. Like she was not, and that's what I was expecting. I think is I got a different movie than I was thinking, and holy performance, dude, from everybody. Like,
I agree.
Wow.
I would love to get, I think her name's Morfred or Morfred Clark. I'd love to get her on the show to just talk about portraying Maud, because it was just so good, so well acted. If you're listening and you haven't seen Saint Maud, Epix, the streaming service, owns the streaming rights to Saint Maud. I believe you can get a month for like 99 cents. It's so worth it. I'm upset that they haven't released the physical copies in the US yet. It's only in the UK.
I decided right after watching it that it's one that I will be seeking out, like my physical copy, and it'll be in my collection.
I've wanted to buy one from the UK because they have like a really cool steel book, but I can't play it, so I don't want to just own it just cause.
Didn't you say that she was in Dracula too?
She's in the first episode of Dracula.
She would listen. Who do we got to fist fight?
Who do we got to talk to? I think she's just working on something else right now. I think that's what the response was. But either way, I'm glad that you liked it. I obviously loved it. So if you're listening, go watch Saint Maud. Can't recommend it enough. If you've already seen it, how did you feel about it? Send us an email. Let's talk about Saint Maud a little bit more.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I feel it's now our. Who did we talk to today?
Yeah, exactly. Now that we've been talking about eels in the Amityville house, we talked to George Reinblatt, who, for everyone that doesn't recognize that name, George wrote the book, which is the script, the book and the lyrics for Evil Dead the Musical, which is a cult phenomenon, crazy musical adaptation of the Evil Dead. We can just say series, the Evil Dead series. George is a comedy writer. He's written for some of the Comedy Central roasts. He's written for Jeff Ross's roast battle. He's written for like a bunch of things on Comedy Central. Super emphatic guy. Really enjoys his work. He loves doing what he does. You can just tell by talking to him, which is wonderful. And
seems
also,
very down to earth and kind too.
Yeah,
he was just a great to talk to.
Exactly, and honestly has created a one of a kind hell of a show that he really goes into. How'd you feel about the conversation that we just
I thought it was great. It was so cool to talk to him. I'm honestly, in a weird way, like I said in the show, I'm really bad at like organization. And so there's been many times where Chelsea and Kaylee, our friends, have been like, hey, let's go see the Evil Dead musical. And but I always, it's like I get alerted, it's I have work or something, like there's always been some reason I haven't been able to go. And I truly, not just because he's on our show, like I've always wanted to go and just get covered in blood. And yeah, man, I thought it was so cool to talk to him. In a weird way, I'm almost glad I got to talk to him before I go see the show in person, because I've seen it recorded. But I feel like when I go for that first time now, I'll think back to our conversation and it'll bring a little bit of extra to it.
Exactly. We have that in-depth kind of vibe, and we've seen behind the curtain a little bit. No pun intended.
Right.
Awesome.
And if you love, I mean, if you're an Evil Dead fan, and you love campy and you love things like Rocky Horror, like you're going to love this conversation. You're going to love this interview, and you're going to want to go see the show if you haven't already seen it. And if you have seen it, write us and tell us about that too. It doesn't listen. Just
if
someone
talk to us. Doesn't email me next week.
I'm going to throw my face through this computer screen.
I will catch it. We have a pretty long conversation with him, and then after that we are doing our top 5 horror movies we would want to adapt into musicals with our friends Cam and Bruce. So stick around after the interview for that. That's a fun one. So yeah, we will jump to that interview right now. Again, George Reinblatt, the writer of Evil Dead the musical. Enjoy, guys. All right, so we are here with George Reinblatt. George is known for writing the Comedy Central roasts, as well as the hit off-Broadway stage show Evil Dead the Musical. Evil Dead the Musical is played off-Broadway in New York. It's broken records in Toronto, has won awards in Korea. It launched 3 separate North American tours and has had over 500 productions mounted across the globe. George, thanks for being with us today, man. We appreciate it.
Oh, no, I'm thrilled. Thanks so much for having me, guys. This is great.
Yeah, of course. So we obviously just talked a short bit before we started recording about the musical. Can you kind of describe, for people that haven't heard of the musical, obviously I'm sure they've heard of the Evil Dead, but kind of describe the show and talk about like the inception, when it was created?
Yeah, so Evil Dead the Musical, it's actually, its original name was called Evil Dead 1 and 2 the Musical. It is a weird, unlike any other musical adaptation. It's the official adaptation of Sam Raimi's movies. People kind of sometimes think it's a parody, but no, we actually have the rights, and it's kind of was part of the whole deal. But it is kind of an amalgamation of all 3 movies. It is mostly Evil Dead 1 and 2, and then we kind of throw in bits of Army of Darkness, aka kind of Evil Dead 3. So yeah, it's basically, it's a musical version of all these movies, believe it or not. And weirdly enough, it kind of has followed the same trajectory of the movies themselves. Like, these movies, the Evil Dead movies, were not huge hits right off the bat, but they just grew this cult following, kept going and going and going and going for years and years. And weirdly enough, that's what this musical is. It is still going 18 years later after we first put it on. It keeps getting bigger every year, which most musicals do not do that. Most musicals kind of start here and then they drop off. Yeah. This is a trajectory that nobody's seen. And it's kind of weird. We started in Toronto. Basically, I was a young, struggling writer. Me and my partners, Chris Bond, who's the director, Frank Cipolla, who does the music, and Melissa Morris, we were just kind of struggling, figuring out our way, and we decided to put on a musical. 18 years ago doesn't sound like that long, or maybe it does, depending on how old you are, but
it's long.
It was kind of long enough that like YouTube wasn't a thing. So when you're a struggling writer nowadays, you're like, I'll put out a video on YouTube. Like me, I'm like, YouTube wasn't a thing. I'll put on a play, which sounds crazy thinking about it back now. But that was kind of the cheaper way. And in a weird way, that's what Sam Raimi and those guys did when they were starting out. They were just a bunch of guys from friends from university, got out, wanted to do something, and they put on a low budget movie. Mm-hmm. So we decided to put on this play, and then we came up with this crazy idea to do Evil Dead. And when I watch Evil Dead 1, I'm like, there's kind of not enough plot here to make a musical. But if I combine the plot of Evil Dead 1 and 2, which kind of overlap, if you know the movies, I'm sure you guys do. I don't know about your listeners. They overlap a bit. So we kind of overlapped them, made them into one story, and allowed us to have way more characters, kind of way more songs. Mm-hmm. And we decided to put on this show and make it like as fun as possible. Because the one thing with the theater I've always hated about the theater is how stuffy it is, how you got to dress up. It's always polite. I wanted to turn this show into like a party.
Yeah.
I insisted you could drink in the audience. Now, drinking in the audience is now a common thing at the theater. And if I have one influence on theater, I think it is that. I can't take all the credit. But when we went to New York, there was no drinking allowed in the theater. And I had a meeting with the theater manager myself, even though my producer said don't, and said, you got to have drinking in here. And they changed the rules for me. And now everyone drinks in the theater. It's kind of common. But back then, very stuffy. And I just wanted to have this kind of party. So my friends and I basically put this show on for no money. Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell was very helpful. We reached out to him and said, hey, can we get the rights? And they kind of just were more open to this than you'd think. And even nowadays, who knows if they would, because people kind of, you never know. So they just kind of saw a lot of us in them. They're like, we were struggling university guys too. Like, yeah, do it. You can have it. And they said, kind of, it gets bigger, we'll discuss the rights and figure that out later. So they let us do it. And so we put it on in Toronto, just with our friends, no money. When I say no money, the set was made of an old barn. Like the people we knew neighbor who was tearing down a barn, we made the set of it. But I amazingly had this brilliant cast and brilliant crew. We had engineers like from people I knew who made these very complex blood systems. And in this very, very cheap, very small back of a bar in Toronto, we put on this show. And from minute one, there was lines around the block. And when I say lines around the block, because once again, back then, we couldn't figure out a ticketing system. Right. So you had to kind of show up. And we reserved a seat. You would call a phone number, we'd put your name on a list. But then a lot of those people wouldn't show up because no money was exchanged. So we'd have like hundreds of people lined up like from minute one.
Oh, man.
Wow.
It was pretty crazy. Our first show, I feel I'm really bouncing around if you don't know.
So you're good.
You're fine.
Yeah.
Our first show was on the day of the major blackout. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh, yeah. Yes. I was little, but I remember.
Yeah. As crazy as that is, it might sound like it hurt us. It actually helped us because we put on the show, the blackout hit. Half of North America was blacked out, for if anyone doesn't remember this. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden we're like, what do we do? So our actors went on the street and performed. And that kind of led to our cult status in Toronto. Everyone kind of heard of these actors putting on a show on the street. People were lighting it up with their car lights. And then from then on, that's kind of when the lines started to form. So we did this it was going to be for 7 performances. That was it. That was all our goal was. I just kind of want my name in the newspaper to maybe help my writing career.
Right.
All of a sudden, these 7 ones are sold out. It's lined up around the block. They let us do another 3-week run. And this show, and once again, I can't thank my cast and crew enough because they were so good. It started then getting a lot of attention from like New York producers and blah, blah, blah. The next year, we went to the Just for Laughs Festival in Montreal. I don't know if you guys know. It's like the biggest comedy festival in the world. So we were kind of one of the featured performers. And then 2 years later, we opened off-Broadway in New York. So it's weird. It went from this very small bar in Toronto to being an off-Broadway in 3.5, 4 years. But in the world of theater, that is very quick. That's like rapid speed.
Yeah.
And off-Broadway, I was going to say, if your audience doesn't know, I'm positive your audience doesn't know the definition of off-Broadway.
Off-Broadway? I know what it is, but yeah, off-Broadway is...
Off-Broadway means 500 seats or more in a certain block radius in New York. We were in those blocks. We were right beside Broadway theaters, but our theater had 499. So we were, at the time, the biggest off-Broadway show, not just in seating, but actually in budget. It was a major, major production back then. And then we ran about 5 months in New York, and we made a cast album, then came back to Toronto. Then we played for 2 years straight in Toronto, basically, with a bit of a break in the middle. And that's when the real cult thing started rolling. And when I say it's a cult thing, and once again, I'll let you guys ask questions. Sorry if I'm rolling.
No,
you're fine.
Like, this
You're
thing
fine, man.
started in this small bar, went to a very, very major stage. It was it was successful enough. We were nominated for major awards, like Broadway World made us the Fans' Choice for Best Off-Broadway Show. We actually beat In the Heights, Lin-Manuel Miranda at the time.
Damn.
Oh, shit.
They gave him the award in the end, for the record. They thought our fans rigged the vote, which I don't know why our fans just voted and gave it to him, but they gave it to him. He will admit that. He's well aware. Because we had the same age at the time. So yeah, it did New York, but then it's been weird because we came back to Toronto and then kept running there all the time. And then you guys were saying that you have a lot of friends in Michigan. Then Detroit picked it up. Detroit ran it for 13 something years straight. It was in Vegas for years. And it's been kind of this weird thing where everyone's now doing it and kind of making it their own. So we've had major productions that are worth like $1 million budgets. And then we have these small ones that are kind of like cult classics in these small towns, like Bend, Oregon's put it on probably like 10 times. And it's been kind of like this weird trajectory that I've never seen in theater, that it just is this cult kind of thing as it goes. And we can get into like the splatters on exactly what the show is, but that's kind of like the history of the show. So nowadays, wherever you are, you can always check the Evil Dead website. Not exactly right now. This is a bad year for some reason. But it's kind of been playing in all these places, and all these shows kind of bring something special to it. And it's very cool to always have the support of the Evil Dead people. Bruce Campbell has come to New York. He's come to the big shows. But he'll also like show up at these really kind of small shows. So he'll like pop into like Bend, Oregon, and like, hey, I'm here, and like it's just kind of like, it's just kind of fun. And more than anything, Evil Dead at the time, 2003, whatever, we thought it was done for. We thought they'd done the 3 movies, it's done. Yeah. It kind of just kept it alive for the fans who love it so much. It gave them something new to kind of bridge that gap. And now there's been a new movie, new TV show, all that stuff. But during that time, this was kind of what the Evil Dead fans wanted. So
it's so crazy that story just in general is so, I mean, you're right. I'm a huge theater. I mean, I'm a theater kid, since high school. I'm big into theater. I live in New York City. So you talking about, Broadway, I totally understand. You see, obviously you got Wicked playing here, and then you have, The Office, the musical or whatever is happening in another theater next to it, like that sort of comparison. Can you talk a little bit about, so when you're creating this, obviously, you're a comedy writer, so you have your own vision on what you're trying to create comedically. Can you talk about, some musicals that you're inspired by, or some maybe some musicals that you pulled from when you're thinking about writing this?
Yeah, so my goal with this whole thing was always kind of comedy first. And it's kind of why, and it's always so weird. People say, like, were you a success in New York? And I'm kind of like, I don't know how to answer that question, because 5 months is a pretty good success for Off-Broadway. And the reviews seem like grudgingly accepting, like the New York Times, which is like, whatever, you get a great review in the New York Times, it kind of makes or breaks you. They didn't even give us a review. They didn't give us a stars. They were kind of afraid to, but they wrote an article and they said, this Evil Dead clearly wants to be the next Rocky Horror Show. And it might just be like, it's probably going to be that, but it also was like, never like, go and see it. It's kind of like, these idiots with a bunch of swear words are somehow putting on a show, and it's really resonating with their audience, and I have no idea what's happening. Yeah. So what musicals inspired it at the time? It sounds very weird, but what I always loved and still do is a very straight comedy song, or a very straight musical song that sounds straight when you hear it, and the lyrics are just so ridiculous on top of it. So we always wanted the music to be like, kind of like as straight as possible. Yeah. And the lyrics is crazy. The shows I've always liked, I was very impressed with Avenue Q when I saw it, but I kind of saw that as I was writing this, if not towards the end of it. So I was kind of in the process But when I saw it, I remember saying, I think there's a bit of a shift in theater. I think I'm kind of on the right track.
Yeah.
They kind of broke ground. At the time, like our show has a lot of swearing in it. At the time, we were like the third or fourth cast album with a parental advisory sticker.
Wow.
So hardly any New York show, anything had ever had swearing before.
Yeah.
Avenue Q really inspired us. But other things like you wouldn't expect. South Park, the movie, inspired me a lot.
Okay.
The way they do music, because once again, that's a true musical. It just is about really stupid lyrics.
Yep.
Well, and I mean, you have them with Book of Mormon now, and that's like obviously it's post you releasing Evil Dead, but that lends itself to that easily.
Yeah, that was once again about the same time, and it's weird. South Park, I found South Park funnier than Book of Mormon. I find they went a bit more for it with the comedy. I found Book of Mormon appealed more to the mainstream theater crowd, which is fine. They're super successful. Good for them. They kind of found that equal balance. But I kind of went like, some of our decisions weren't to appeal to the mainstream on purpose the more we talk about this show. And then there was even a Mr. Show sketch at the time where Ronnie Dobbs, who's like this guy who was on Cops, was singing a musical about cops. Like what it's like he was like a musical like being the guy arrested on the show Cops. And I remember it was just such like an earnest song about him getting arrested, and I just thought it was so funny. And so those are kind of more my inspirations than true Broadway. And then more than anything, I went to like a local show, a Rocky Horror Show in Toronto, and they were all drinking in the audience, and it was in a bar, and they kind of made a big deal. It's a bar and it's a party, and more than anything, that was stylistically what I always wanted. I wanted this to be a fun night out, start to finish. Yeah. And just bring in people who don't normally go to the theater. And that's the one thing I do. Like our audience is not there's theater lovers love it, but we bring in people who've never set foot in a theater. And I'm really proud of that. You'll see 20 straight guys go to this musical together, and you will never see that on any other musical. I can promise you that. So
that is so true.
Yeah. I love it. I think it's so great. As I kind of mentioned before, I have not yet had the pleasure to see it in like the theater. Yeah. And I'm from like, I'm 15 minutes outside of Detroit. And I remember a few years ago, well, I mean, it was many years ago at this point, probably like 10 years ago, if I'm being honest. That's when friends told me, because I had seen Evil Dead, but I didn't know that there was a musical. And some friends were just like, hey, we're doing this night. We're going to see the Evil Dead musical. Do you want to go? And I couldn't. And it's basically been like, there's been a few times since. Those friends go most years now. And I think you were kind of talking about the cult thing. It seems like cult following is just sort of the theme of this entire, like from the movies to your musical to your inspirations from it. I think you really nailed it.
Yeah, it's been very cool because, and the one thing about it, and it is something to do with the way I write, it's written in a way kind of on purpose that the more you watch it, the funnier it gets. There's kind of like really in-depth things. And so people go 20, 30 times, like regularly. Like sometimes I'll just speak to the end of a show. I'm like, hey, who's seen the show before? And literally 75% of the audience raise their hand. It's like, and that's crazy. So it's like, and that's kind of what cult stuff is.
Right. Exactly. It's the type of thing where it becomes like a tradition. Like for my friends and similar to Rocky Horror and the movie itself, like you don't just watch Evil Dead. Most people don't just watch Evil Dead once, you watch Evil Dead once a year, at least, with the same group of people. So was that like a big part of I guess like why Evil Dead? What made you mentioned that you kind of got this idea to do Evil Dead as a musical. Was there like, can you kind of talk about your thoughts on Evil Dead or just horror in general that really kind of pulled you in and brought that thought out of you and made you excited enough to see it happen, to make it happen?
The weird, really kind of lame answer to this, and when I say lame, whatever, you might find your answer, but Evil Dead has so many moments, and those moments each make a good song. When you watch a real Broadway show, sometimes there's not enough moments, and you'll go like, this guy's singing a song literally about what he just sang about in the last song, and like nothing happened in between, and they're literally saying the same topic. Evil Dead, and it's why combining 1 and 2 work. Like whatever, his hand comes to life, each person turns into a demon, this thing happens, that thing happens. it really structurally as a musical laid itself out perfectly to a level that I wrote the first draft and have not changed the structure of it since, which is also crazy because it just kind of like laid itself out. We figured it out, and it added together great. So structurally as a musical, it amazingly works well. People watch that movie and go, "There's nothing here, but how do you do this?" And the script of Evil Dead is so barren. So much physical comedy, so much. There's very little words in it. If you actually read a transcript of what these movies are, there's very little words. But they also gave a lot more to us to play with musically. So it is weird because people keep saying like, "What movie are you going to adapt next?" And so many movies are hard to adapt because they're so wordy. So many, and not enough happens. Whereas Evil Dead's very like, this happens, this happens, this happens, this happens.
Yeah,
it makes it such a fun musical because every moment something else goes on. And yeah, the reason we did it, it's weird. Chris Bond, who's the director, he just watched it one day and we were kind of thinking about doing something, and he's like, "What about this idea?" And I watched. He was actually gonna maybe just say Evil Dead 2. I'm like, yeah, it's not enough. There's not enough here. Which isn't an insult on the show. It's just kind of like, I wanted more characters. There's not a lot of characters in Evil Dead 2. And so in Evil Dead 1, they have 5 students at the beginning who come to the cabin. In Evil Dead 2, it's only 2. I'm like, yeah, that's better. And so the more people who come and go and get killed, it's just, it's weird. When you ask kind of what was put into it, it was kind of like we just came across it. And the more we kind of did the math on it, I'm like, wow, this will really work. So it's kind of both.
That makes complete sense.
Do you see, so obviously, you know, our show is called Mostly Horror, but we're, you know, we like to hit kind of all aspects of the genre. Do you see any kind of marriage between comedy and horror? I know that, you know, there's a lot of, especially within the past 5 or so years, you have Jordan Peele, you have Chris Rock, who's producing the new Saw franchise. Sean and I were just talking about Alana or Elena Glazer has a new horror film that she wrote coming out. Like, do you see any marriage kind of between comedy and horror?
Yeah, you know what? There's a very clear reason why comedians always kind of get into the horror more and more. It is at its core, and once again, I don't know if I'm being too nerdy of breaking down exactly the writing process.
Do it.
We love it.
Do it.
The basis of comedy is to like set somebody up to an expectation and then pull something out on them that they weren't expecting. The thing they weren't expecting is what makes you laugh. If you think you know where it's going, you're not going to laugh. You might chuckle thinking, I saw that coming a mile away. Horror is the same thing. They want to set you up, and you know something's coming, but they'll hopefully pull you in and surprise you. It is literally at its core the exact same thing. One makes you laugh, one makes you jump back. Mm-hmm. But structurally, if you're looking as a writer, they take you on the same journey. If you're talking like a real drama writer wants a love story that's an in-depth character thing, that's a lot more deep and doesn't go anywhere. Comedy and horror, literally, boom, boom. Yeah. It's always the exact same thing. So it is weird. It is, and I love the comedy of the horror stuff because, and Evil Dead, like, I'm sure the people on listen to this know Evil Dead started as a real horror. The next one kind of got a bit cheesier. The next one kind of got a bit cheesier. And then the Evil Dead, the musical, takes that cheesiness and goofiness one step further. I actually think the Evil Dead TV show that just came out is more close to Evil Dead, the musical, than it is to any of the Evil Dead movies. Because they kind of followed our version of comedy and kind of kept going on the comedy, on that path. So we loved just like how intentionally cheesy some of the things in Evil Dead were, and we wanted to make that funny. And I loved writing lyrics, just writing goofy lyrics about gross things, like I'm gonna rip out your fallopian tubes and do this, like just every like gross thing you could add a rhyme to, just made it so much funnier in the song. So it is weird, like once again, when you nerdily break down the math of comedy and all this, the horror does lend itself really well to this, kind of better than people would think on the surface.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. One of my favorite songs in terms of like just comedic writing, and you kind of just like you just picking things to joke about, is Good Old Reliable Jake, because it's essentially just like every line is like 2 or 3 goofy things, like this guy created crazy glue and he can get a dead hooker out of your hotel room. He's the point guard of the Memphis Grizzlies. Like just goofy shit that you threw in there that it's just funny. It just makes you laugh, but it's so good.
See, songs like that, it's weird. Sometimes I base this stuff on Evil Dead, and songs like that are just like completely out of the blue. There's nothing about him in the movie that kind of matches that. And it's weird. The Evil Dead fans have kind of been cool because we took a lot of the characters and really kind of took them to different levels that aren't in the movie sometimes. Mm-hmm. And it's fine. Like Shelley's really slutty. Scott's like a real douchebag. I kind of said, this would be a funny character in these situations. And it kind of still worked. And the Evil Dead fans are like, that's fine. Just mess with it. Yeah. But yes, good old reliable Jake. He tries to convince the people that he's reliable enough to take them down this like backwoods path. And they say, I'm not sure he's reliable. And then he sings this song where he just like lies about all these things he didn't like. And then they go, okay, that's good enough. But it's just like it makes sense because he's been lying for 5 minutes. So
yeah,
I love that.
That's so funny. I'm very curious what made you make some of the decisions in terms of, because if for the people that don't know, when you go to the Evil Dead musical, you're going to get it. Well, at least if you're in those first 3 rows, you're going to get soaked. And that's the splash zone that you kind of mentioned earlier. How early in like the conception of the musical was that in play? And how early did you decide, well, we have to make a mess and it would be fun if we shared the mess with the audience?
Yeah, it's kind of exactly that. It is amazing. The splatter zone has been kind of what we're known for. So in the first few rows, people come and they expect to be covered in blood. And there's a lot of parts in the show where it specifically happens. This has become like our main thing we're known, like not main thing we're known for. It is a good show that the audience gets covered in this. Any single person who'd worked in theater said this was the dumbest idea they'd ever heard. They're like, who is going to pay tickets to sit through a theater show and then be covered in garbage at the end of it? Like just covered in like a syrup. I'm like, I don't know, let's try it. It not only became the hottest ticket that there is and sold out. Some theaters expand the splatter zone so it's half the theater. Some theaters make that the most expensive ticket. It's like the amount of people who want this is crazy, and it's fun. It kind of makes you part of the show. When you're actually sitting there, you're getting like blood thrown in your face. So it's really hard to watch the musical, but somehow people love it. And so the answer to how the splatter zone came. So when we first started in this small bar, we didn't have a splatter zone. The stage got bloody. You're 100% right. And then once or twice, like you would just go a bit loose because it's just kind of an air pump machine. And the air might go a bit strong and got 1 or 2 of the audience members. And then we're kind of like, let's try it. And then we went to Montreal and we had like 1 or 2 tables, said, okay, you'll get covered in blood. Just be prepared in these seats up front. And then by the time we went to New York, we're like, yeah, we're going for it. Let's make it bigger. And it's the one thing it does. I love when the splatter zone's the cheapest seat in the house. Some producers make it the most expensive, and I actually think it changes the energy. When it's the cheapest, and you just get the maniacs up front. The energy, when you guys say you haven't seen the show, so the energy from that splatter zone comes backwards. The people in the splatter zone love to be covered, and the people behind them just love to watch these maniacs get covered in blood. So it's been so much fun to see, and it's just been such a major part of this everywhere we go. And it kind of happened by accident, and it wasn't our intention. And we've done these major tours where we go to pretty big theaters, and it's always kind of been our issue. We're like, are you going to ruin our theater? And we sometimes do, but we always like, it's kind of like a big part of our production is making sure we have enough people to like really tarp off these areas and make it good. And sometimes theaters make these people go to a back door and not walk through their lobby again. So it's been a bit of a crazy thing, but it's been a lot of fun for everyone who's been a part of it. So
I've seen people wearing ponchos, like fully.
I have a word for those people. They're called cowards. Why are you in the theater zone if you're in a poncho? Like, the really crazy people, because the blood washes out, because it has to wash out of our costumes every night.
Right.
So, but people don't wash their clothes, and this happens more than not. Like maybe people can send you pictures. They don't wash their clothes from it and then come back in the same bloody shows and then get bloody again and then don't wash it and come back. But yeah, I don't know why people wear ponchos. People do, and I don't get it. Like, it makes no sense to me. But
cowards, just like you said. I think it's genius. I especially love that it just happened organically, and I think it works perfect because as someone who, I mean, I'm a very big Evil Dead fan, Evil Dead 2 probably being one of my favorites. And I also am a person who loved the remake. I know there's a lot of whatever on that. I love them all. But when you watch Evil Dead, even in the comfort of your own home, I feel like after the movie, you feel like you're covered in blood, or at least you want that. And so it's cool. Like when I go 100%, I'm going to get that seat. I'll probably wait if for whatever reason, if it was booked, like if all those seats were booked, I might wait till the next day to go so I can make sure I get covered.
Yeah, no, people do that all the time. And like I said, we've had to keep growing it. And people complain if they're not covered in enough blood. So
yeah, exactly. Soak me.
In some of the major shows, like we'll have like in the major show in Toronto, like he'll shoot in the air and blood will come down from the ceiling onto them like shower heads. So it's good. It's always pretty fun.
Beautiful.
Get your money's worth.
Yeah.
Are you, so obviously this is still touring. Are you still a part of it? I mean, I know that you wrote the book and you wrote the lyrics, but are you still, going to shows? Are you still, trying to, I know once the world gets some semblance of normalcy, I know that theater is going to have a huge resurgence because we've been missing it for so long. But
yeah, I think so too, and I think this will be one of the first shows to really pick up. This is I think the younger crowd who goes will really kind of be the first in line.
Yeah.
So yeah, I am very involved in the major shows. So it's kind of a weird business model we have, and like I said, I do things a bit different than most major shows. I am very happy to license this show and let like a small theater group try their hand at it. They bring new effects, they bring everything, they kind of do their own things. Every time I've ever seen one of these smaller shows, smaller quote unquote, like they bring something I wasn't expecting. And I love it. The crowd loves it, and everyone kind of knows what they get. And in a lot of ways, it's going back to its roots. It's kind of a smaller place. Like there's a place about an hour or so of Toronto. It's in a 30-seat theater, and they put it on for like 8 months in a row every weekend. I don't even know how they do it for so long. But it's kind of just so weird being in like the 30-seat theater and just kind of having fun like this. So but then we'll play major theaters. So the big cities, it's like 500 seaters, those types of things. And we'll sometimes do these tours. I'm very involved in the tours. I'll do part of the casting and go to rehearsals and that kind of stuff. And then other times I'll let people kind of just have their run with it. So I'm still very, very involved. I try to be as involved as I can. And yeah, I still go all the time. And sometimes it's fun for me just to go and not know what I'm expecting at one of these shows I'm not involved in, and kind of just to get to laugh, because nobody laughs in the audience more than I do, kind of at everything. So it's fun.
Yeah, that's
good.
That's one thing. I used to be a high school theater director for like 7 years, and I saw that you have a version that's made for high school, and in my head I'm just like, man, I can't imagine doing that in high school. I'd love to read the script of that with your edits.
It's a bit crazy, to be honest. So I had trepidations. Like my publisher who licenses the thing says, "Hey, why don't you put out a high school version?" And part of me was just like, "Yeah, okay, I can." Like, what does this incorporate? And so they're basically like, "Okay, no." And you have to realize, when I tell this story, I understand I'm Canadian, so there'll be a bit of Canadian bias in what I'm saying.
Okay.
So, they're like, okay, no sexual innuendo. Anything revolves around sex, take it out. So not just swear words out, like anything that's even like sexual at all. I'm like, okay. Yeah. And I said, okay, well, what about like all the brutal violence and and they're like, keep it all. 100% fine.
It's so
like,
crazy.
Really? You don't like me hinting that this guy and girl are going to the same room together, but the murders of all these people are fine. So yeah, schools have done it. Once again, I'm not trying to be biased. It sells a lot in Florida. We were part of the big Thespian Festival not long ago. So yeah, we haven't had the high school version out too long before kind of the wall shut down, but
Okay.
The schools are loving it. It's been the ones who put it on have been loving it. It is kind of weird for me to see these young kids doing this, but yeah, we took out all the swearing, and to be honest, as a writer, it was easy. It's easier for me to take out an F word and kind of replace it than like some innuendo that I rhyme that now I can't rhyme. It's just kind of like, it's tough. So that's the other reason I'm involved in this, because I rewrote this version, the high school version, and then I went to a summer camp in upstate New York called Stage Door Manor, which is a famous theater camp. Like Robert Downey Jr. went there. All these really, like, it produced a lot of actors, and they put it on for the first time as my kind of sample. So they brought me up, and I got to go and kind of see how it works. And now the schools are doing it. So I'm always doing that. And then the other foolish thing I did writing this, because I always thought it would last 7 performances, I made like a lot of like very current pop culture references, which now 18 years later don't make sense. So I'm constantly rewriting those every year as well. So when you buy the script, you also get this additional script from me saying, hey, here's a few jokes that replace the Dom DeLuise line that I had in the original. And then so yeah, it's been once again, I'm a bit more involved than people think. It's still constantly going to this, but I love it. So it's all good.
No, that's great. I honestly didn't know that you were as involved as you are, but I think when you make something like this and you see it grow so large, I feel like you don't want to let it go. You know what I mean? And especially theater. I mean, theater, I think the people listening to this, probably not a lot of them will be theater people, but theater is so personal, like either if you're writing something or being in a show or directing it, so you have this attachment to it. So I think it's awesome that you're consistently like seeing it change and update.
And it's also fun for me to see how people do it. It's like we've also like gone international. Like we're very very big in Korea for no really, I don't really understand why they're, because apparently they're not even that big fans of the movie. Like apparently the movie's not as successful there. Our musical's kind of more to them. And we have a bunch of like K-pop stars be in the show. And those are like major things. Like those guys performed at Olympic Stadium and did like a version of like a concert of our songs and kind of this like musical theater Coachella thing. And I'm like, so when I say like this thing goes big, it goes big and then sometimes goes small. And it's kind of really fun for me to see it at all levels.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. I would have never guessed Korea.
No, me either.
And it's crazy. Like they do a crazy job because they can really dance and like put in, like they just do a bunch of crazy stuff with it. I flew to Korea for the first performance. That was many years ago, maybe like 12 years ago. And it was really fun to see.
Heck yeah. Oh man.
Do you think so? I know that you talked a little bit about this in terms of, Evil Dead being one of the first shows to, swear a lot, and you wanted to have drinking in the crowd.
Which, by the way, thank you, doing God's work out here. That's making that change.
How do you feel about the change? I mean, Beetlejuice the musical just came out. I think it just ended its run right before COVID happened. And like that's a film based on a show based on a horror film that obviously has, expletives, and it's kind of raunchier or kind of for lack of a better word, just like darker than other shows. You talked about Avenue Q, which for people that don't know is, essentially a bunch of puppets and people using puppets, and there's sex, there's just everything in that show. How do you feel about theater kind of evolving from a uptight, middle-aged white person's place to being able to be seen by everyone?
It is weird. Like risk wise, I always find theater a bit ahead of the game. Like they did Avenue Q and the kind of that stuff before. Like I always find them really kind of open to kind of pushing that a bit. But I say that a bit like there has been the stuffy version of theater, and then sometimes they're really open to it. So there's always the balance. The worry I have about theater nowadays, about Broadway, and is it becoming too much of like a Disney-fied remake of everything, like that's too controlled. Evil Dead's been kind of a weird thing because the other really cool thing about it was Sam Raimi and Rob Tabor and Bruce Campbell and those guys it's kind of like you said about the theater. You had to make your own thing. They let this be our thing. They just said, do it. And if it becomes big, we'll talk later. And then it did. So that's kind of been the cool thing about it. But yeah, Broadway puts on these shows like Beetlejuice because the name Beetlejuice. It kind of gives you one more reason to buy the ticket. It's becomes very big. And once again, when I said we were early on this with Evil Dead, there wasn't a lot of remakes of that or TV like movie remakes at the time. Like Hairspray was out, but only a handful. Right. And we were kind of one of the that we kind of jumped on that. But yeah, it's I always find theater pretty open to crazy stuff. Like there was a show called Urinetown on Broadway and stuff. Like they're always open a bit to crazy stuff, and then it's always wrestling with the main people who buy the tickets are like the older rich people, so you're always trying to balance it. But I'm totally up for them allowing more people in. It's always weird. It's kind of like on its surface, you'd assume Hamilton is a thing that opens up to the world. Like, oh, it's hip hop. It's like a very like diverse cast, but it's not really that audience. The audience is paying $600 a ticket, so it is appealing to the top of the top. But yeah, I'm hoping theater can just be open to everybody. It's kind of one of the things I'm proudest with this show. It allows people who never set foot in a musical theater to come and actually have a good time.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
I agree. I think that it's one of those things that's like I said, as a theater fan, even just trying to see shows in New York City, like I have to get rush tickets that are as cheap as possible to even try to see the show. So I totally get where you're coming from, and it's good that you have created this show that is open to everyone. One last thing that I want to talk about outside of Evil Dead the musical. So obviously you're a comedy writer, and you've written for a lot of the Comedy Central roasts.
Yes.
I feel like people have, at least the general viewer probably has this misconception of the show because they see, these famous comedians or actors or whatever it may be, or Snoop Dogg come out and say these really funny things about someone, whoever's sitting on the dais, without realizing that these jokes are pre-written for some extent. Can you kind of talk about the process of what goes into writing a roast for someone?
Yeah, I can't. It's such a weird thing because like I said, I always kind of wanted to be a comedy writer, and so I did this theater thing and kind of have veered away from theater since because I've had a few TV gigs. So I'm hoping to get back into it sometime, but it is a long haul when you're doing a show in theater, and these TV gigs are a bit quicker. So yeah, but these roasts, it's so weird because so many people don't think there's writers, but there's a ton of writers because especially. And I don't ever want to downgrade the comedians. When you have a real comedian, when you have Nikki Glaser and stuff, now she'll get her friends to write for her, but she's writing her own stuff. Jeff Ross, he'll write a lot of his own stuff, but he'll also dip into his friends. So there's kind of the comedians and then there's the stars. But every single person has people helping them. Sometimes they have a lot more say and sometimes they don't. And it is weird. We are fairly invisible. I was writing on the Rob Lowe roast for Jewel, and I was kind of her main writer, and she was very thankful. And she's like, hey, in songwriting, like I always, when someone writes a song for me, I always like mention them, like, oh, that song was written by this person at the end. Like at the end of my set, should I just say all these jokes were written by George? I'm kind of like, no, don't edit that off TV so quickly. Like, don't even waste your time because the world doesn't, the Comedy Central does not want people to know I exist in this scenario. I appreciate the offer, Jewel. She's always very nice. But so what we do in those situations is these celebrities sign up for the roast and then we agree to help them. We try to make them all look as good as possible. There's normally a huge room of being like 10 people of writers writing out jokes, and we'll either write just kind of general jokes that can go to anybody or write very specific jokes if somebody's following a theme. And then we kind of just really try to just mold this show the best we can. And it's a lot of like one of the fun things in the roast is when you bring in like a Jewel or a Peyton Manning and like Blake Griffin did the last roast. I helped him with his thing. It's kind of like, it's they're still performing and they're still doing the heavy lifting on stage, but there's a lot of writers helping them out. And there's thousands upon thousands of jokes written by some of the funniest people in the world sitting in a binder at the end of this that don't ever get said. So yes, if you're on a binder of Rob Lowe jokes, that one exists somewhere, I can probably find it for you.
I love that. I remember the one, I don't remember exactly what roast it was for, but the situation from the Jersey Shore came up, and just absolutely bombed. And in my head, I'm like, don't you have writers that give you jokes? Or did he? I mean, I don't know.
You know what? That one was before my time.
Okay.
So I can't really speak to what happened. I know it's weird. It's very rare the writers will set you up with bad jokes. So I don't know if he veered off from what they said or kind of has his own opinion, because at the end of the day, it is still the performer has a say on it. So I don't know what happened. I kind of don't want to speak out of school on that one because I wasn't there. There's other ones I was definitely there for that I can explain more. But yeah, I don't really know what happened there.
Yeah,
interesting.
That's the one that I always think of when I'm like, don't you have writers? But either way,
I didn't in my head. Like now talking about it, it makes sense. But when I've watched Roast, I've been like, I wonder if they had to have had somebody help them out. Like it didn't even occur to me that there was like 10 people. You know, it was a whole written out thing.
Yes,
that makes sense. Now.
I've spent up to a month writing those roasts. James Franco's one I spent a month writing it for some reason, and a few others. But yeah, it's the kind of some writers come in for a week, some for a few weeks, some for a month. Like just like we kind of all spin in and out, and then sometimes the writers become roasters themselves. Like Anthony Jeselnik was a writer. I think Whitney Cummings was a writer. I'm not sure. A lot of that was before my time, but it's it's been a lot of fun.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast, man. We appreciate it. Have loved getting to talk to you about the musical. Hopefully, when the world gets back to normal and the show starts touring again, we'll be able to catch it and get in the splatter zone.
Can't wait.
Yeah, and if anyone's listening, like you can always check out evildeadthemusical.com. We always, big or small shows, list every show that's running. So hopefully one comes to your area. Keep updating it because we're hopefully booking a lot for the fall this year and the summer. We're hoping things pick up by then. And yeah, we're just want to get out. I'd love theater to come back, and I think I think we're about to have the Roaring 20s again. And
hell yeah.
I also think when things get back, people will want fun. I know as this quarantine goes on, I don't want to watch any serious movies anymore. I want to watch the same dumb things over and over and just have fun. And this literally is the funnest show you will have. It is the most fun. The audience is crazy. It is a wild time. Like our audience is nuts. Like it's like I feel bad for our ushers. They deal with lunatics. Like and I love them all. But I've had audience members go, "Hey man, I've done a lot of thinking about this show. I think the first act's better when you're drunk, and the second act's better when you're high." I'm like, what view is this? this is something I worked on for years.
All right. Well, shit. All right. So first act one.
Drunk.
Yep.
All right. I might have those reversed, by the way. I kind of forget what he said, but I'm like, I don't also mean that all our audience is all dirtbags either. It is just like a fun night out. And so no matter big or small, it always brings something great. And I hope people get a chance to see it.
Awesome, man. Good. Couldn't have advertised it better. Again, George Reinblatt, thank you again for being with us. Check out the Evil Dead musical.
Thank you so much, Sean. This is so great. Thank you so much for having me on. This is amazing.
Of course, man.
Awesome. Hi, welcome to Mostly Horror. We're the Mostly Horror guys, and we're here to spook you.
Make you spook your pants.
You're
gonna spook your pants.
We're here. All right. We're here with our friends Bruce and Cam once again to do a top 5. And for this episode, we have a fun one because we just talked to George Reinblatt, who created or wrote the books and the lyrics for Evil Dead the musical. So along the same lines, we are going to choose our top 5 horror films that we would want to adapt into musicals, which is tough. I gotta say,
dude, this was so difficult.
I gotta say it was harder than I thought it would be. We were just talking about it a second ago that like Bruce only has 6, Cam only has 6, I have like 6 or 7, so hopefully we all don't have the same ones, otherwise we're gonna be spitballing.
Right, I have 5 with numbers and then like 2 or 3 extras that I have just concepts, even then that's what we were saying. All pretty loose.
So if you're listening, apologies in advance for
I also
this is gonna be wild.
Yeah.
I also want to apologize because it is St. Patty's Day and the Guinness is running thick today, boys.
Woo.
So yeah, empty stomachs. I know me and Cameron are feeling some type of way.
Empty stomachs, full hearts can't lose, dude. That's what the saying is.
And I'll drink to that, goddammit. All right.
All right, just like
Patty St. Patty's, boys.
Just like normal, Bruce is 1, I'm 2, Sean's 3, Cam's 4. Let's see what Siri says. Siri, pick a number 1 through 4.
Nah,
Siri has
re-roll.
once
Re-roll.
again.
Me? Hey,
Fuck
fuck
that.
you, reroll.
Siri
Listen,
has
hey,
once again chosen 3, which is just
It's
the
not-
dumbest thing.
I'm asking Alexa
It's
next
not-
time.
Yeah.
That's
dude.
fine.
Siri's
Ask-
my bitch, dude. We go
ask-
back.
Jeeves next time. Fuck that.
You know what sucks? So actually, in my defense, though, what's up, Ardu?
Hey, buddy.
Ardu, real
Oh,
quick,
hi,
just
Des.
so everybody who doesn't know, if you're not watching on YouTube, R2D2 is Cameron's lovely pet, and we all we love him with our whole hearts.
He's like
All
a
right, now
little
here's the
brother
deal.
to us.
He is. He's a handsome boy.
He won't stop
Um,
barking.
It's okay,
It's fine.
you know.
fine.
Okay, so here's the thing. It's cool that I get to pick first, but it's also I have to set the tone, and that's hard. All right.
Let me go first,
Let me-
dude. I got the tone set.
Nah, fuck you.
I'm in character.
Okay, so my first pick is going to be Saw.
I didn't
Saw
have
the
that
musical.
one on my list, so I'm okay with that.
No.
Yeah,
All right, now
neither.
here you might be thinking to yourself, why, Sean? Why? Listen, I'm thinking in the spirit of everything from Wicked to Evil Dead the musical, like we just talked about. I think there's a lot of opportunity to get a lot of blood out on the audience.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of cool practical effects that we can jump into. Maybe even dip our toes into magic to some degree. Not in terms of like the illusion that's created, but using magic sort of stuff. You know what I mean? To get
Somebody's
that
arm
going.
off on
Yeah, it's
some-
also I was thinking practicalities. It's not a huge cast. You don't need a huge cast to do it. You can rework a lot of people.
That's
And I'm
true.
thinking that we have I'm going to be honest. My numbers are pretty straightforward, but don't get caught up in that. Think about what it could mean. All right. So we got numbers like you want me to do what? And and of course a big at the end. I'm talking this is like the grand finale. Jigsaw himself performing Game Over. All right. And just like I'm talking fire and just blah blah blah. It's the big
That's a good one.
hoorah. And I'm talking, but again, blood. All right.
it would
If you are
be-
sitting in the first 3 rows, you're getting covered.
It would be
Yeah,
very
but you
like
also have to pay an
intimate.
extra $3 a ticket.
I can picture Jigsaw standing up off the ground and just doing like a cat walk out the door and then
Yeah.
back and looking at the audience.
Jigsaw
Yes,
had a tail the
exactly.
whole time.
Oh yeah, we're going full like we're turning John Kramer into a character, okay? And when you think about it, so there's also some interesting audience participation at the end of the musical. What if, because it's been fun, right? We've had a lot of fun.
Mhm.
We don't need to have a serious Saw musical because we already have a serious Saw franchise. We can have a lot of fun. What if at the end of the musical, after everyone's taken their bow, they're like, all right, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to stand up, and everyone realizes that their ankles are handcuffed to the seats below them. Guess what? This is a trap. No
I
one's
want to
surprised.
play a game.
No one's
Yeah,
All right, yeah,
surprised.
ladies and gentlemen, we're going to play a game. The lights go
That's
out.
part of the theater
Everyone's
going
panicked.
experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Realistic as it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
At least when
Oh
I
my
saw
Lord,
Grease.
that's good. That's
I
good.
like that. I do like that.
I agree.
Thank you.
I agree. That was a good one. All right, Cam. What
All
was your
right,
number
I'm
one?
going with a heavy hitter. I'm going with Alien. And
Oh, you.
so I would tweak it to make it kind of like I would add a love element to it between Ripley and the guy who and
Okay.
there would be a song called My Chest is Bursting for You.
Yes.
There would be a rendition of One Way or Another, like One Way or Another, of Ripley and
Yeah.
Alien hunting each other around the stage, just running around all the
Nice.
props.
I'm gonna get you. Get you.
And then earlier in the movie, there will be a song called "Looks Like Eggs for Breakfast," and then there will be a reprisal of that song later, but it'll be "Don't Eat the Eggs."
Whoever
I
plays
love it.
Whoever actor plays the xenomorph has to run around the entire theater.
Oh yeah.
Whatever
Falling
auditorium.
on props.
Yeah, dude, we're hunting.
Yeah.
Baby.
Well,
Beautiful.
so I'm not sure. I want to add to this because Cam, I think this is a great idea. I don't know if you've ever seen Wicked or any whatever of it, but they do some really cool shadow work, shadow puppetry sort of stuff when it comes to the winged monkeys. You could play with shadow stuff with xenomorphs and crazy lighting. That'd
be cool to just have him lurking like somewhere on the stage and the characters don't know, but the audience does.
Yeah, absolutely.
So just to throw this in there, your ideas are very original. One thing I want to tell you guys is that I don't know if you guys saw it. It was very popular in 2019. There was a high school that put on an alien play. It wasn't a musical.
What?
It was huge. It was 2019. It was North Bergen High School. It was called Alien the Play. It's in New Jersey. And
those cats are crazy.
There were 8 students that put it on. But it got so big that I remember like Patton Oswalt was tweeting about it, and like it just got huge because like this random high school was like, yo, we're gonna put on a play about Alien, like a play rendition of Alien.
That's
they ended up like doing it for a couple of extra weekends, I think, or weeks or whatever. Yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there because I think it's amazing.
I would want to watch it.
I would I would pay good money to go see that show. Also, I hope to some degree that they almost like fused 1 and 2 in that aspect, the same way the Evil Dead did. Because in my head, I think it's The Office. It's some show. Someone dresses up as Ripley, but it's like them in the fucking from Evil Dead. Yeah, not Evil Dead, from Alien 2 in the big whatever. And I just feel like there's a whole number that could be done in that.
Yeah, I was trying to think of like something between her and the Queen could be cool when she's in like on stage.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh man,
that's a good idea.
And those are good songs. Those are good songs too. All right, Bruce, number 1.
Ooh, number 1. We gotta paint the whole floor to match the carpet. Oh,
does the carpet match the drapes?
Very small cast, very big theaters. We're doing The Shining, the musical. Be there, be square. Oh my God, it's gonna be so good. Think with me. You're gonna see Jack Nicholson. Well, whoever's playing him, he's gonna type in
Jack Nicholson as Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, and then you're gonna see another guy come out bouncing a tennis ball as Jack Nicholson, and then another guy bouncing a tennis ball in synchronization, and then 5 other guys, 30 people as Jack Nicholson singing "All Work, No Play." Jack Doll Boy. But everybody's bouncing tennis balls, kind of like High School Musical meets
yes, get
song.
your head in the game.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Oh, the ping
There's
pong
no
song.
instrumentals. It's just all of it is just like
it's
the
like,
beat is created
from
Blue Man Group style. Yeah. Oh my God, so good. But
shit.
Also, don't forget, I'm hooking up with a dead chick in 3-6, baby. Yeah, dude, The Shining is full of very flamboyant hits.
You're right.
Coming of age story. I'm looking out at the overlook and I'm seeing things I've never seen before. Dude, oh my God.
So here's my question.
Yeah, somebody needs to crowdfund this.
How much are you? So I'm assuming that the movie's the main driving inspiration
100%
behind it. So are you bringing in? Because in the book there are a lot of like the animal bushes are a big part. Are you bringing
It's going to be The Shining, the movie, the musical.
Okay, got it.
It's going to be The Shining, the movie, the musical. Yeah, Jack Nicholson is going to reserve, like, he's going to get royalties. It'll be good.
I like, I mean, you got, listen, Jack's going to get his money. Jack's going to get paid.
Oh my God, it's going to be
You can either pay him or he can come get his money. And I promise you don't want the latter.
The maze scene will have like the crowd, the seats will be set up in like with hedges on them, not distracting, but like you're sitting in the maze. They're gonna
like it.
Walk. Oh, it's gonna be so good.
Yeah.
The Shining, the movie, the musical, 2026 Broadway. Or
wonderful. We just gotta workshop.
Get your tickets now.
All right.
Yeah.
My number one, I think, because there's a lot of coming of age musicals, I think they do really well. High school age, and because of its unrivaled opening number, favorite scary movie would be Scream.
Nice.
I think that Scream would have a great ensemble cast. I think that the opening number with a Drew Barrymore type would be great. I think it's just like a solo number, and then she dies, and you're just introduced to this show where she's not a character at all.
That would be cool.
Yeah,
I think it'd be wonderful.
What's the number called?
The opening number would be called favorite scary movie, and it's very it's very meta. Like, obviously the movie's very meta, and like theater, they would break the fourth wall so easily.
Yep.
So I think that would be something that would lend itself very well to making a musical.
You have so many different opportunities there. Like, what's your favorite scary movie? And they're bringing out a bunch of props and shit from other stuff.
That would be
Hypothetically,
Sir,
yes.
quick,
Like
what's your favorite scary movie?
Movies just come out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Going up to the audience, what's yours?
Yeah,
We
and
hate
they're
that
like,
one.
yeah. Saw it sucked.
Saw it
No,
sucked.
saw it sucked.
I tried to do Scream. I wrote it down in my notes, and I couldn't come up with a single idea. So I'm glad that you took it and got a good idea out of it.
Give me more,
A
Steve.
really
what's
good
what's
idea.
I don't
What's
have
another number?
I don't have a lot of other ones.
you
This is your first pick,
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
and you don't have two musical numbers?
You had
No,
good
dude.
reason behind it, though. I feel
That's
it's
fair.
good.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's a strong structure. Like, I think that there is clearly so much to work with here
yeah.
that you already sold me on the one.
You
That's
can
not just
you
me
can
trying to
see
be
it,
nice.
and I don't need to pitch
Yeah.
pitch names.
And at some point, like when it's gonna be a pricey show, like, let's be honest, but you get a cheaply made black cloak and ghost face mask.
Yeah.
And at some point, somebody's going to be like, okay, audience, now's your time to put the mask on. One person's going to be the killer.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know what your second, dude.
motherfuckers.
Another obvious number is the rules.
I was
like
gonna-
where
yeah,
we just
yeah.
break down.
The rules
Yeah,
of horror
where we
Randy.
break down
Randy,
the rules.
yeah.
Now listen.
Number one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Don't be having sex, you fucking freaks.
I'm glad that we're all on the same page with this one. All right.
100%.
All right, cool. So I got Scream as my number one. So starting off round two would be Cameron.
Okay.
What's your second musical?
I'm gonna go with Creature from the Black Lagoon, and
Ooh.
picture it as like a Phantom of the Opera operatic like that, where it just be dark and beautiful.
Wow.
It has hit ballads such as "Hold
Lots
My
of
Flipper,"
blues and greens.
"Dive with Me,"
Wait.
What's the first one?
What was the first one?
"Hold My Flipper," "Dive with Me," "Dwelling in My Cave," and "Don't Shoot Me, I Love Her."
Wow. Wow.
Don't
And it
shoot
just
me.
be
I
like a
love her.
beautiful love story, but dark
Oh yeah,
and operatic. I pictured it as.
dude.
Yeah.
I was about to say this is a show. This is a real tearjerker show, guys. All right, this is not a first date show.
No.
This is a no. Yeah,
No.
you're going by yourself because you don't want anyone there disrupting the magic.
Yeah, you're gonna cry. You're gonna cry.
Yeah, it's not a comedy. Yeah, it is a tragedy.
They use the
like it.
tears they turn that into the water for the next show.
Fill
They
the
take all the
lagoon.
tears. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how they fill the lagoon.
Also, holy
give
shit! What a
Laguna
cups.
Tears. That's the fifth hit.
Laguna Tears.
Wow.
I love it, dude. Listen, patent it right now. I'm telling you.
We're recording this. No one else is going to
Who do
take
we got?
it.
Yeah, I was about to say this is creative rights right here.
Yeah.
I want to say that Cam's pick is perfect for a lot of projection play.
Yeah.
There's so many opportunities for
Yeah.
projection work that, like, and on a serious note, I really think that A Creature from the Black Lagoon musical could be a ton of fun
I agree.
and could have even if the soundtrack sucks, which I doubt it would, because I think it would be beautiful love ballads from the 90s.
Dwelling in My Cave,
would-
dude. It's a box.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I was saying hypothetically, even
That's
if
what I'm
it sucked,
singing to him.
you would go just for the visuals.
yeah.
You would go just for the visuals because we're going to do a lot of, again, shadow work,
Yeah.
puppetry,
it's more-
projection play.
It's more creature POV than the movie too. Like
Yeah.
the creature has
Yeah.
a voice.
Yes. There you go. Yep.
All right, Bruce. What are you picking for your number 2 musical?
Oh, dude, I don't know. So for my number 2, and I need you guys to hear me out. One, we're going huge.
Swear to God, if he says Men in Black.
Numbers. No.
We're talking big production.
We're talking big production.
Okay.
Not as big as Men in Black, but big production. A Quiet Place, the really silent musical. Check this shit out. It caters to the ASL audience. Oh my God, it's going to be huge. It's going to be pretty much whispered throughout the whole time. Like with hit numbers from Dinner to Shut the Fuck Up. Dude, the heart-wrenching musical Busted Hearing Aid. Oh my God, it's going to be so good. And shh, what's that over there? Shh. What's that over there?
Yeah, I can
It's going to be amazing.
No pun
But
intended.
most of it is going to be quiet, and all of it's going to be in ASL.
There you go.
Or BSL or CSL. Any country could adapt it.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
There's a lot of
Quiet
opportunity
Place,
there.
The almost really quiet musical.
Yeah, I think that getting what's going to make or break that one, to be honest with you, is making sure that your composer of your instrumentals is
silent.
nailing it. It has to be silent, but like
not silent,
super atmospheric,
pretty
building.
quiet.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say silent. It's just a really quiet place.
It's
a really quiet play.
Lindsay suggested Don't Breathe, and I was like, no, because you got to be quiet. That movie's quiet. But
you got to breathe.
I thought
Everybody
about
put
Don't Breathe.
a blindfold on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like it.
That would be unique.
A Quiet Place, the really quiet musical.
It would be cool.
It would be unique.
So wait, question, how much do you plan on showing your creatures? And like, are you thinking guys in costumes? Are you thinking puppets? What
There'll be like somebody being dragged away if need be. I don't know. I didn't think much I just thought about music.
You could have some cool props.
And
you could have cool props too.
I think that there's really there's a lot of
the lighting would be cool too with the red lights.
Yes.
Yeah. It'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really having like a mood sort of sound for when the creatures are by.
We have to get somebody that's willing to like step on a Lego downstairs so that when they're acting it, they're like, shh. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh my God. And they fall. Yeah, exactly. And they fall. But
I know what you're talking about.
We can't shove a thumbdatack through.
Legally, I don't know if you can use a Lego either. That's a little bit more brutal than the nail.
Yeah, I was about to say, dude, a Lego sounds worse.
You just like step on a Lego, trip down a couple stairs. You're screaming your face off. The whole crowd's like, shut the fuck up.
Also, listen, if this picks up, I bet we could get Krasinski on it. I bet we could get Krasinski on it. You telling me he doesn't have chops? He's got theater chops all day. I bet you.
And Emily Blunt.
Oh, dude, yeah,
you've got
absolutely.
Krasinski, you've got Blunt.
Yep.
Yeah,
exactly.
100%.
All right, my second one I picked because of the setting. So I think setting a musical at a summer camp would be really cool. Friday the 13th, man. I think that a Friday the 13th musical would be great. Now, here's the thing. I think that all of the characters would have their own individual numbers. What would be the names of the numbers? I don't know. But while they're singing, Jason would come out and kill them, like near or close to the end of their number. He then would take over their number and sing, but because he has a mask on, it would just be
Oh my God. So good.
And so you wouldn't be able, but it would be funny as hell. You wouldn't be able to hear what he was saying. And then he then would sing a song. He'd take the mask off and turn away from the audience and sing a song just called Mom near the end. It'd be very emotional. He wouldn't be looking at the audience. You wouldn't really see him, but it would be great.
Well, so I want to say, and this ties completely back to the episode, and I think I talked about it with
George,
with someone else's pick with Alien. But so Friday the 13th, the musical. First off, I'm surprised that doesn't exist. But secondly, it's one where you don't pick a specific movie.
Yeah.
You're making a musical of the franchise. So I think that you're gonna, you know, like some people might have been like, well, Jason's technically not in the first one, or he doesn't get his hockey mask until part 3.
Yeah,
but like,
there. Like, just
but here's the thing. I was about to say, but that's perfect because we can cover all of that ground.
Yeah.
Mrs. Voorhees is in this musical.
It's inspired by characters from Friday the 13th.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, imagine
The
Mrs.
musical.
Voorhees and Jason having like a beautiful duet ballad together.
Yeah.
While both stabbing people and cutting people on the way.
And
And it's just like
Just
the
a-
bloodiest
It's
number.
a bloodbath.
it
A
would be
bloodbath.
my soul.
Yeah.
It would be like the one number from Sweeney Todd, where it's a montage of him slicing people's throats.
And would she be the It's Joanna's reprise.
Oh yeah.
Bum,
Duh,
bum,
yeah.
bum, 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 ba-da-da. Joanna.
What a great one. Yeah.
Horror music.
Steve, I like it.
Every horror musical I've seen is just phenomenal.
Yeah, I agree.
I haven't seen enough.
I've seen like 4 probably, but they've all been great.
I have not seen.
I've seen
Rocky
like
Horror,
4.
Beetlejuice, Repo.
Beetlejuice. Oh yeah, well, yeah.
Are we talking movies or live?
Either
I
way,
guess.
either way.
Oh, okay.
I meant to say
Because
Little Shop of Horrors. Boom.
Little Shop. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
That
that was
movie's
so good.
11 out of 10.
All
Okay.
right, Sean, number 2.
Number 2. Okay. All right. So I have to think. I'm trying to go off of.
What you think we're gonna pick?
Yeah,
That's
because
what
I
I'm doing
have
too.
one. I have one that I'm really banking on. I guess I'm gonna go with this one next. Okay. All right. And listen, hear me out. Hellraiser the musical.
Hear me out, dude. Hell yeah.
No one? Okay. Here's the deal. First off, it's gonna be one of those. I feel like it's gonna be Beetlejuice-esque in the sense that, you know, you don't get a lot of time with the with Pinhead and with the Xenobites. Is that what they're called?
Xenobites.
Yeah.
Xenobites. You don't get a lot of time with them, but when they're there, we're talking big numbers, so atmospheric, such a completely different change from what the rest of the show is. And I feel like having like a fairly mundane show until they're in the rooms in terms of like visuals is going to be a key factor here. And we're talking about songs such as the big Pinhead number, A Waste of Good Suffering, which is just him, like we're talking blood, like again, lights, just crazy shit. It's just him sort of speaking to, I'm going to say I don't remember. What's the protagonist's name in Hellraiser, Cameron? I know you know it probably. No?
Razor.
Daughter or who's the protagonist?
Yeah, the daughter.
I don't know off the top of my head.
Jessica.
The Nancy-like character. Jessica?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Okay,
I
the
just said a
Nancy-like,
name. That's just
either
a
way.
name.
Either way, the Nancy-like character, because that's, dude, 100% a Nancy-like character. It's just Pinhead singing to her, like, and there's like a whole number, and then at the end, it's just no tears, please. Dun-dun-dun. It's a waste of good suffering. And like whatever. And then of course, the fan favorite, You're Sexy with the Skin Off. And I feel like that's, you know, that's your comedy. I don't know. It just does something for me.
Take off your skin.
Yeah. Take
all
off
of
your
these
clothes.
all of these musicals that we're pitching have a very like well,
that's me.
like
That's me
a
bringing that to the
Chicago
table.
like swing
I pitched an
feel.
operatic, man.
No, that's true. That's
Well, yeah,
true.
yes.
That's true.
I went very. What they also think is
I
the
think
whole
all my other
musical
ones are
doesn't
like
have
that.
that. I just think that every good musical has that.
Has that number. I gotcha.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm talking. That's You're Sexy with Your Skin Off, and that's
like
going to
that
be
name a lot.
obviously between You're Sexy with Your Skin Off, and that's, you know, between her stepmother and the guy, the brother, her uncle, and
the
just
guy, her
whole
brother,
thing.
the uncle.
Yeah, the guy,
You know what
her
he
brother, the uncle, the number,
Yeah.
and it's I really feel like there's just a lot of potential there.
Yeah.
It's a huge series, so I feel like same concept with
Mhm.
everything. I think that you can sprinkle in.
Yeah,
You know, most musicals are damn near 3 hours long, so
right.
feel like you can
I
use a
will
lot.
say,
Really?
I will say for this one that I want to keep the first
The first
movie
movie.
as the general focus, but we can take moments and feels from other movies in the franchise and put them in there.
There could be a big cube.
I just watched. Well, I have one more Resident Evil movie. I just watched the first 5 in the past 2 days because I'd never seen them. And then I'm watching all the Underworld movies, and then Hellraiser I'm watching next because I've only seen them.
Nice. Hell yeah.
All right. So round 3. Bruce, you would start round 3.
Nice. I'm going with Would You Rather the musical. It's going to be extremely happy and extremely way too realistic gruesome. Like really realistic, a lot of blood, gruesome. You're gonna fall in love with these characters. You're gonna have an anxiety attack. It's gonna be sweet, like hit songs. Would you rather cut your nuts off, blow your hand off, stab that bitch there, dude? Oh my god! Or like
we're taking a Michael Jackson vibe in terms of our sound approach.
Just like a very like pop, very like proud. But when you stab that bitch over there, it's gonna be a good stabbing. Real sound effects.
Using Michael Jackson songs with different words.
Yeah.
So and you could do a lot of like a guy like gets his hand blown off by the firecracker and he's like screaming. He's like, I just blew off my hand in this game of goddamn would you rather. Michael Jackson, I was like, it kind of works, but it doesn't work at all.
We went from Michael Jackson to Italian.
The very devastating All That for Nothing closing song is going to just rip people's hearts out.
All That for Nothing. Now here's my thing. So I'm going to be honest.
The closing title.
As an audience member, I'm curious about the Would You Rather show, but I got to tell you, I'm not buying a ticket unless I can see one of the showings that either has Sasha Grey in the cast or Jeffrey Combs. So if you had to have one of them attached to the project,
Jeffrey Combs is probably way too busy.
So
it's probably
Sasha. I would prefer to go to the Sasha showing if we're being honest. So
and she's gonna drown herself every night. Not really.
I like it.
Be fake, but she's gonna be a really good actor. It's gonna be acted so well, and like the deaths are gonna be brutal.
Yeah,
brutal. You're gonna get.
I don't like any
meatball
character
down the
in that
pants.
movie.
What?
I just hate every character in that movie. Like I just don't. I don't know. The movie doesn't do a good job of like making me care about anybody. So
no, but that's the musical are gonna be nuts.
The music.
I don't remember who else is
so happy.
Snow, maybe.
Be like so happy, and then like the guy turns and shoots somebody, and the whole place is gonna shut up.
Yeah.
That person is gonna die right there. Not literally, but
every night a new actor.
Yeah.
All right.
I
the
like
deadliest musical out there. Would you rather?
For number 3, the third round, I saw King Kong the musical on Broadway, and it was awesome. There was a huge puppet of King Kong.
Ooh, what?
It was amazing. It was like it was, I don't know, 20 feet tall. It was freaking huge.
Yeah.
Much in the same line, and I feel like it could have an amazing story.
Yeah.
With the hit song Godzilla the musical. I feel like
nice.
I feel like not Cloverfield. I don't know if that's what you thought I was gonna say.
That's exactly what I thought you were going with.
That would be kind of cool. But I feel like Godzilla is such a big name. I feel like having a huge puppet Godzilla would be great.
Yep.
I feel like it would have a lot of energy to it. I think Godzilla, you'd have to find other characters to like tell about, because you can't have Godzilla really be the main character in the movie. But I think it would have that wow factor of, did you see the 30-foot puppet of Godzilla on Broadway?
Yeah. Well, also you have a lot of opportunities there. I didn't see King Kong, but I see multiple puppets where depending on, because there's, I mean, from movie to movie, there's different size Godzillas, but I can see even just a giant puppet foot stepping on like city streets while people are singing around, you know.
That's true.
Now here's my question: are we going? Are we going Tokyo?
I think it would be Tokyo. I also think it would be an original story. I don't think
completely. I would agree.
I don't think it would have anything related to like previous other ones. Yeah, maybe
I feel like Easter eggs. Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, I think
I support it.
That would be big.
Actually, fuck that. Godzilla 2000. We're bringing in Ferris Bueller. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Roderick's coming in.
Have you seen the Modern Family episode with him yet? I think it's season 2.
No, I don't think so. I'm so addicted to that show, though.
It's perfect. It's so good.
All right. So I got Godzilla. Sean, what's your third round?
My third, we're gonna go with Amityville Horror, which is funny because I was worried that Steve was gonna pick it today because he brought it up in our because we just talked about it. But in that I'm
the guy
I'm
that
trying to
committed.
Think,
that's what we talked about.
Committed notice murder.
Yep.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yep. We just talked about it at the beginning of the episode. I didn't know that until Steve told me. But
what?
The guy who killed his family in the Amityville house, he just died today at the age of 69.
Oh,
nice.
Nice.
But
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think that it's pretty self-explanatory in terms of what I'm thinking there. It's again, we're talking small cast. We get to keep this small one house set, almost like the Under Oath music video. I really want I want to focus on the house.
Yeah.
So not just have one room, but have like it'll probably be like a multi-layered set to go from whatever and make the house a character in a sense. And you get the opportunity to have the cast play both the family that initially died and the others. And I know that doesn't exactly line up. Exactly. Well, probably more of a
maybe like the same time.
Well, actually, yes, that's probably better than what I was thinking because we're not going to approach it the same way where we just have the intro of the original family and then the whatever story. But yeah, I feel like having it layered in that case, actually, I almost want to have 2 different casts, which will be bigger on the budget. We'll see what we can do. But either way, either way, we're talking about numbers like, honey, you seem different. and I never liked my family anyway. And and I just feel like there's just
in parentheses CH.
Yes. I never liked my family anyway, parentheses. Yes. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of opportunity there. I want to touch on the original movie has like a very interesting scene with flies. And I really want to focus on that for a number. Again, I'm really into visual stuff. Give me shadow play. So I want
real flies.
Honest dude, if PETA doesn't give a shit, I'm down. Do they care about flies?
Who's
I don't
Peter?
know, man.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
PETA's horrible company.
Yeah, if we can't, I'm not. Listen, I'm saying I don't want to deal with them.
Yeah.
But if worse comes to worse, if we can't get real flies, there's a lot of projection room there. Yeah.
I think
shadow work, projection stuff. Yeah.
I think that would be good. Would you have Ryan Reynolds in it?
Yeah.
I'm
not saying
so here. Well, here's the thing. I'm down for Ryan Reynolds, but if Ryan is there, I'm going to push for Chloe. I want Chloe in it. I know that she's a lot older now. She can play a different character, but I need her in it. I don't know. It's important.
All right.
It's important.
Ryan Reynolds really had no business being in that movie, but he killed it.
He did it so good. Yeah. That movie's great. Yeah, fuck anyone that doesn't like the remake. I love both.
For the ending
of
the
original
and the original, honestly. I like the original, obviously, but
I don't think I've even seen it.
The end still freaks me out. All right, Cam.
Yeah.
For the third round of the horror musical draft.
All right, we're gonna go with Freddy vs. Jason. I know you said Friday the 13th, but this isn't canon, so I don't know if this counts in that franchise. But I love
that movie.
It's gonna have a rendition of Anything You Can Do, I Can Do Better, where they're just like killing teens, singing that.
Yes.
And then
yes,
at the end,
can it be at the rave?
Yeah, sure. That worked.
Yeah.
That, I honestly think it would be kind of perfect for that. Do you remember how it ends, like at the very end?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, at the end, the closing number is going to be like a duet between Freddy's head and Jason, because a lot of left is Freddy's head, and Jason will be holding it like this still, but they're going to be singing a song called "Just Can't Get Ahead" because they're always losing.
I love it. And dude, and also it almost seems there's a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde musical, and I feel like taking a lot of inspiration and stuff from that would almost be fun.
No.
But instead it's just Hyde and Hyde, you know? Yeah.
I didn't know there was a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde musical.
Oh yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Cam, you definitely have the best song names out of all of ours.
Yeah, you really do.
All right, Bruce, you already did. So round number 4. Oh, that'd be me.
Yeah, starts with you.
Cool. Buddy. All right. For my fourth movie that I'd want to turn into a musical. This one's tough. I have like 4 that I'm choosing between. I think for the sheer star power. So Rihanna would be the lead actress, and she would be redoing her original song Disturbia, and it would be Suspiria. And that's all I got really, but I feel like just star power.
I can feel it.
That's all I
Rihanna,
got, really.
You got ballet dancers, so it'd be very dance heavy. It'd be a very dance heavy musical.
Yes.
You'd have like a red room number near the end, like a big number in the red room. Yeah. That's
I see this as an opportunity to bring, ribbon, like people. I feel like that's a good
like
whatever. And dude, lighting, holy fucking lighting.
Yeah, you can do crazy stuff with the lighting.
It'd be lots of red.
It's funny.
Yeah.
I considered doing Suspiria, but
anxiety-inducing music.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I almost feel like for this one, leave the humor out of it. Even
no, it wouldn't
just
be,
go.
It wouldn't be funny. It would be honestly more like a ballet than a musical. It would be very like. It would be very kind of artsy. But I feel like Rihanna still has to sing Suspiria to the tune of Disturbia.
I support it.
It's still the darkness and the light. She doesn't have to change the lyrics. Just
in the light.
Just the one word. But yeah, so we're going with Suspiria.
I support it.
All right, Sean. Number 4.
4.
Okay, so for number 4, I'm picking An American Werewolf in London.
I was thinking about that too.
Yeah, because I feel like it plays on that horror and that comedy vibe that I think. But I do want to focus more on horror, but with I want to make most of the show dark, but then kind of bring it out of it with numbers like My Nurse is Super Hot and so the main thing is that even if you don't like the rest of the show, which I think the rest of it would be good. Also, I want to stress Jack Nicholson needs to be in this one, which you might be asking why. I don't know why. I just see him in it. He's not in the movie, but he's in a movie called Wolf, and I really want him to have a small. It just feels right, and I feel like he's not doing a ton right now, and we could probably budget it.
I'll get him.
He'll be in The Shining, the movie, the musical, so he'll be.
Yeah. He was already
back
in
on
New
Broadway.
York.
Yeah.
Well, this one would be on the West End in London because it's
even if you don't like the musical as a whole, it's worth a watch for the number. This hurts so fucking bad, which is the transformation scene, and it is again. This is one of those big numbers. We got a lot of prosthetics going on, a lot of lighting changes. Realistically, we probably have to have 4 or 5 of the cast members in different levels of outfits, switching in and out as light changes. So it'll probably be during like a thunderstorm with, and you know what I mean? And you're lighting up different areas of stage at once. We got a lot of prosthetics. Honestly, we probably got to bring.
That's too much work. Get a real werewolf. ask him politely to put some skins on.
I can't listen. We gotta get this off the ground. I can't afford
And
a real
then-
werewolf. I mean, once we're on
this
Broadway, maybe
economy?
later.
During COVID?
Yeah, this economy?
exactly. You can get a if you're you're talking about lighting, you're talking about multiple cast members, multiple costumes.
Yeah, man.
Because just call a werewolf, bro.
You can get a werewolf on the
Have
cheap
him
right
put-
now, man.
Yeah, dude. Have him put
I guess I don't know.
human suit on.
Well, I'll reach out and we'll see what we can get.
Craigslist,
going, you know?
baby. Just put out some feelers.
Yeah.
All right, here I'll say this again. I either need Nicholson attached to the project or I need Hopkins attached to the project, and I doubt I could get him.
Do you think this would
He's just
be
vibing,
a big
dude.
musical in the furry community?
200%. It's not my idea, but yeah, 200%. I think
If we really saturate the sex, if we bump it up a little bit, probably.
it's 2021. It'll be like 2023 by the time you get this
Yeah,
thing kicking.
I was
Yeah,
about to
there's
say
gonna
we're
be a
talking
lot of
23, 24 earliest.
all
You know, there's a
inclusive.
lot. Yeah.
Whatever fetish you have, this musical.
This movie
is-
satiates you.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, Kim.
Yeah.
So you would be picking your fourth musical, your fourth movie.
Fourth musical. Okay, I'm gonna go with 13 Ghosts.
You bitch! Dude, almost.
All right. It's gonna be feely, but also there's gonna be comedy thrown in. It's gonna be a dramedy, but mostly drama. And we're gonna have hits. Well, there's gonna be a rendition of "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," performed by the Torn Prince.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a song called "Lucky Number 13," sung by Tony Shalhoub. This show's not happening without Tony Shalhoub.
Yeah, no, can't.
And then
Yeah.
the one
We're very
the
reliable.
tearjerker that's going to get the audience is called "Bathtub Ballad," performed by the Angry Princess.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm here for
no,
it.
I support it. Also, again, I feel like people aren't thinking about this enough. Not to attack you, Cam. I'm here to help you make your vision come true. You're set, dude. You have so much opportunity to really embrace a multi-layered set of the house and make the house a character.
What?
There's a lot of
The Basilius machine. What is that called? I don't remember what it's called. But the contraption itself.
yeah.
I picture that hanging in above the set most of the show, and then lowering down for that final.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yep. This
You
is
can
another
also-
big production, dude.
It can spin really easily.
Yeah. Oh, there's
It can
so
be
many
really
things we can do.
cool.
Yep.
Yeah, dude.
Yep. Like a disco.
We can get
ball.
contortionists to break Matthew Lillard's back.
Dude.
So it's fine if you
I
get
want
someone to go
Lillard
with
on
that
the
scene
project.
specifically, and I couldn't think of something.
Yeah.
Well,
My
Lillard's
back,
got to be
my
in my
back.
Scream musical.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
Matthew Lillard's
we're
back.
bringing so many people to Broadway. This is
That's
going to be
fine.
great.
Yeah.
We're doing God's work.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Bruce.
Thank
Who-
fuck for us, right?
Number 4.
Yeah. Going super modern, and we're gonna do it pretty meta because I don't think it'll work unless it's like heavy on the comedy. But we're gonna do Jennifer's Body, a lot of Billie Eilish style
Yo,
songs. Yeah,
You could probably get her on the project.
out of
that's what I'm
Jennifer's Body?
saying. Like Jennifer's Body with that like high school modern
Yeah.
drama. I'm the bad guy.
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
of
Dude, she
everything that
has
we've
to be
said,
a part of it.
I think that is probably the most legitimate contender to
Thank
become
you.
one.
There
I
would
think-
obviously be like a full school cafeteria breakout number.
I think that The Shining could work. I think that Creature has a
Creature
lot
would
of
be really
potential.
The
cool.
Creature
You just get
is-
But I do
stoned and
agree,
go see the Creature
Jennifer. I
play.
do agree though that this
I
is
think
solid, Bruce.
a modern Broadway show, Jennifer's Body kind of just screams like new age Broadway.
Yeah,
coming
that's
of
fair.
age film or musical.
Yeah.
I don't really have any musical numbers for it. I just think it could work as a concept.
I feel like it's
Yeah.
pretty
Um,
practical for the stage too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can bring
Yeah.
Megan Fox.
Yeah.
You know,
As
we're
long
just
as
bringing
you get
people
the
out of
cast-
Probably.
theater,
Well, so
you
I
know?
think what's funny. I think that bring Megan, but I would be more curious to see Jennifer's Body the musical with Billie Eilish playing the character and Megan being a part of the show than I would to see Megan reprise her role as
Yeah.
Jennifer. I don't know why, but as soon as you said Billie, it seemed like the perfect fit for me.
Yeah, I feel like picture the
Billie Eilish
seductive
can
parts
act,
though. Would Billie Eilish nail that? Or would
No.
it
No, she's very
I think
she doesn't she's she's all about wearing baggy clothes because she doesn't want to be sexualized.
But that's right. And I'm not saying that necessarily that she would want to do it. I could understand if she didn't want to do it, but if she wanted to, she could nail these roles. And I feel like
she's gonna have her hands on it.
Right. I was gonna say, like, she chooses to be more to be more, what's the word? I can't think of the word. To
dress like that,
to cover herself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She doesn't want to be sexualized. I feel like Jennifer's Body is a comment on the sexualization of women, though.
Yeah.
And I feel like she could be down to, especially as she's getting older. I mean, she's like, is she 19 now? 20?
I have no idea.
I think she's just
19. She would. I feel like as long as she's down for the project, I think she could bring a lot to the story.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think she could do it. I just have a hard time picturing her. Some scenes, but
that's fair.
Yeah.
I also haven't seen Jennifer's Body in a couple of years, and I need to read it.
It's ridiculous. We keep talking about it on this podcast. I don't know why.
The music, it's
great.
You keep bringing it up, Ding Dong.
Oh yeah,
we talked about it
with
Lauren in an interview that's coming out in a couple of weeks. So we talked about it there. So it's a good one.
It was clearly it had a cultural impact, and for sure.
It's getting bigger.
Yeah.
It's coming. It's still coming up.
It's still getting recognized after all these years. Like,
yep. Exactly.
It was also the return of Panic at the Disco. They disappeared.
Oh, really?
After Pretty Odd. Dude, Panic disappeared after Pretty Odd. They disappeared after Fever for even longer. But then Pretty Odd came out. They were gone. No one. I mean, I wasn't keeping up on Panic's whatever. And then the New Perspective video came out, which was written like for the soundtrack of Jennifer's Body. And I was like, I guess it's just Brendan and Spencer now. And it was just a whole thing.
Yep. And that's how it goes. All right.
Here we go.
We got round 5 to wrap it out. I'm going to ask Siri one more time. If she picks the number 3, I'm going to scream, and we're going to just go with our top 4s.
Number 1, my lord.
Siri, pick a number 1 through 4. Siri, pick another number 1 through 4.
Did she pick 3?
It's number 1.
Did she pick 3 the first time?
Yeah, she picked 3.
Yeah. Listen, whatever.
All right, Sean. Okay. You got to go first.
I'm not going.
So my first pick is a movie that I think probably at least Cam has seen. I don't know about everybody else. Maybe Bruce has seen it. Vile. Mm-hmm. Vile. So I chose Vile. Yeah, Vile. Vile is, now here's the thing. Just like Vile, Steve doesn't know what Vile is, does he?
Things on their necks.
So yeah, so to quickly catch everybody up, because all of our other movies have been fairly big. Yeah. Vile is a movie about people being kidnapped, and then they wake up with these tubes connected to the back of their necks, and the whole point of like they're trapped in a house and the video plays for them, and it tells them that basically this company makes drugs, but it uses a chemical that's released by the brain when the brain is undergoing extreme stress and pain. So the whole movie is like a group of people, and everybody needs to fill their vials. The group needs to provide a certain amount of this chemical, and the way to do that is by hurting each other. The more that you hurt each other, the more chemicals released, whatever. So you can either
torture porn film.
It is a torture porn film, and the whole premise is like you can either really hurt a couple people, or you can kind of hurt everybody, and because overall none of you leave until we get what we need. And it's great. It's really great. It's an indie flick. And I think that that's perfect. I don't want this to be a big production. I want this to be, local. I want this to be a small standard effect stuff. And I want numbers like, you got to make it hurt, which is just explaining like, that's not enough. Well, what if I slam my thumb in the nope? And like
gotta make it hurt.
Just like I said before. But also to the people that have seen it, the big number. This is you have a certain character that has been really upsetting you throughout the whole movie. And we finally reach a point where the characters decide to team up against a character, and the number is called she's kind of a huge bitch. And it's just sort of this turning point in the movie where a bunch of characters, well, in the musical, where a bunch of characters decide, hey,
let's go.
She's kind of a huge bitch.
Kind of a huge bitch. I like it.
Yeah.
I think it could work.
Yeah.
It's
again, we're talking low budget.
A lot of props though. A lot of props.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, I think we can embrace it in an Evil Dead sense.
Definitely.
The practical. Yeah.
I dig it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Cam, number 5.
All right. I got 2 here, but I'm gonna go with Misery. I feel like Misery could be a cool show. They could play more on Annie's love for Paul Sheldon, her like obsession.
I love you.
They could really spell it out like she loves him and like make you see more that she loves him. But there'd be a rendition, two renditions of our songs that already exist. There'd be "I'll Be Watching You," sung by Annie Wilkes, and then I haven't fully decided if I want to keep it romance or comedy. But if it's comedy, we're gonna have "It's Hammer Time" in there.
God damn it.
She would also sing a song called "Why Doesn't He Love Me? I Shaved His Face."
Yes.
And then
single, yeah.
Towards the end, spoiler alert, when she dies or is dying, Paul Sheldon will sing like a big number called "Die with Misery." Like that would be the name of the Die with Misery, and it'd be because it's kind of symbolic.
Cock-a-doodie needs to be a number.
Yes.
Cock-a-doodie, dude.
Like a good one. She'd just be singing while she's doing stuff around the house.
Yeah. And the cock-a-doodie do cock-a-doodie.
But yeah, I think that's my 5th one.
I like it.
Number 5.
Misery the musical. My number 5 was The Lost Boys. 80s hits. 80s hits across the board. 80s hits, so much vampire erotica.
Every song
Eddie G on the fucking sax.
Find shit that works.
Oh
dude,
my god, it's gonna be huge.
You would have this is just reality.
Yeah.
You would have the alt girl audience in the palm of your hands.
Oh, yeah.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Dude,
Bad Boys.
It would do amazing.
The Lost Boys? No way. Bad Boys, dude. Because Bad Boys, vampires, a lot of leather.
Holy shit.
Oh my god.
A lot of leather.
So good. With hit musical numbers like maggots, Michael. You're eating maggots, Michael. You're just a goddamn creature of the night, man. You're like a comic book or something.
Can Corey Feldman be a part of the production?
No.
He wasn't even in the original.
No, absolutely.
Was he in the original?
Yeah.
Oh, I specifically remember him in like. You're probably right. I haven't seen Lost Boys in a minute. I specifically remember him from like 2 or 3.
Regardless, no, I feel like that's asking to bring drama, dude. Keep him off of it. We'll get the Frog Brothers from 2 other people that vampires. But yeah, the Lost Boys the musical.
Lost Boys
it's gonna
the musical.
Be super vampire-y, super dancey, kind of erotic. 80s
your second
hits.
I guess Jennifer's Body isn't really vampire, but you're close to vampire.
It's succubus vampire-esque. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Lost Boys could work.
That's a good one. That's the first 80s one I think that we really have. Not 80s movie, but 80s style.
My favorite part of recording these is Joaquin Phoenix giving me the fuck me eyes behind Steve.
I was gonna say he's been down there today. Yeah, that's what he's doing.
So good.
All right, to wrap it all up, everyone loves a Christmas musical, so we're gonna do a heavy metal Christmas musical. No original songs.
You're right up my G spot, dude.
No original songs, only heavy metal versions of Christmas songs for the musical Krampus.
Yeah, bitch.
Yeah.
Oh.
Shout out to Chelsea and Kaylee. We were talking about it yesterday, and they brought it up.
Gonna be
but
horror.
I would go.
More. And you know what? You nailed there. Before you continue, you nailed the cult tradition aspect of a musical. I would go, Steve. I would go every goddamn December.
Christmas.
That's how I would spend Christmas Eve, Christmas or Christmas
Going to
Eve.
See that heavy metal Krampus
every year. Every year, it would be like, sorry, family can't. I'm busy. I have to go see Krampus.
Heavy metal musical versions of Christmas songs. You know, we'll make them fit in the plot. It'll be fine. David Koechner is in it every year. He comes by. Yep, he comes by every year to be a part of the production.
Was David Koechner in the movie?
Yeah.
I don't even remember. I saw the movie in theaters, and that's why I started seeing it.
Oh, dude, you got to re-up.
I loved it. It was so
I've
cool.
seen it once in theaters.
So good.
Yeah, he's the brother-in-law.
Okay.
He's wonderful. But yeah,
That's a good idea.
Krampus the musical.
I love it. Yeah.
Well,
again,
Krampus the
so much
metal
puppetry
musical.
play.
so much. Oh yeah, wait, that's practical effect. Creatures, of course. Well, another week, another great top 5. I think that we all have some good ones.
Nice.
Thank you guys for being a part of this.
Yeah.
I think that was a unique unique draft. Well, people will definitely have to listen to this to see our explanations, because otherwise just looking at this, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's awesome. Thank you guys. If you're listening to this, thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And we will see you guys later.
Can I plug
Goodbye.
myself?
What?
Oh wait, can I plug myself?
Sure.
No, fuck you. Fuck a
Oh,
Portia
sweet.
Davis. No.
Go listen to I'm Gonna Get Sick by Portia Davis on all streaming services. Go.
Lame.
Get a speeding ticket while driving to it.
And that's it. Mostly horror movie night.
Bye.
We out.
We love you.
I
Goodbye.
love you.